Here are some of the highlights from episode 2 with attorney John Romano. Enjoy. So, how is it different to practice law since the global pandemic? Tell me a little bit about your specific practice and how things have truly changed since this pandemic.
Well, the first thing I can tell you is that I was in depositions in Tallahassee in the middle of March of 2020 when things seemed to come to a screeching halt. We had a number of additional depositions that were set, and there was an agreement they had to be canceled. People had to go home, and we were worried, especially some that had to get back to Illinois, that flights might all be canceled. And it was that mid-March to the end of March, a time of great uncertainty. Nobody knew. I can tell you my position. My position was we are not going to listen at all to anybody who tells us we need to relax, we need to sit back, wait it out a while, and see what happens. I have never been about approaching things like that. Because usually when you're waiting to see what happens, it's not good. I want to be out in front doing something. So I said, we talked to all the lawyers and all of our staff, and I go, move aggressively in setting and taking the depositions. We knew we were going to be doing them as video conference depositions. Get hearings set. This one did throw a curveball at me. I said, let's do whatever we can do to get trials set. And that, we had to adapt because trials were not going to be set. But I learned so many lessons. The first mediation we had, I remember the suggestion from the mediator was, we'll have to do it by video conference call or Zoom call. And I said, this case, you can't mediate via video conference call. And the mediator convinced me we could.
Yeah.
And he told me about how we're going to all be placed into separate rooms. And although we've all done that, many times by now, at that time we didn't know. And all I will tell you is not only did the case settle, the mediator was extraordinary, and the mediation process, it unfolded in just a beautiful way. And I learned a big lesson. You can. So the changes, we're doing all of our depositions virtual, hearings virtual, mediations virtual, client meetings with a few exceptions. Otherwise, we do them all virtual. But all of the meetings, if you look at my schedule on a given day, video conference, right on down the line. And I think it's, in most respects, it's a change for the good. Like hearings now are virtual for the most part. I would just assume most hearings remain virtual. But some firms, they told everybody go home and you'll hear from us May 1st. That's not a wise thing to have done. Other firms got scared and they laid a lot of people off. Now I'm talking law firms.
Yeah.
And my personal feeling was that was not a wise thing to do. We didn't do that. We just didn't do that. I wanted everybody working hard and moving the cases. And I will just tell you, I'm not going to name names, but we have one young lawyer in the firm who has had the most remarkable success since the pandemic began.
Wow.
Because he's dedicated, he's loyal, he's devoted, he's focused, and works like crazy. And it's been extraordinary. So the pandemic has changed our practice forever. I think there are some things where we'll never go back to the way it was. But the key is to adapt. And marketing was a big thing. You got to market during the pandemic.